Thank you for viewing this inspirational tip on how to make easy tucks from the American Sewing Guild. Tucks are a beautiful addition to any type of design, whether a blouse or a children's outfit or even pillows. Tucks add a lot of interest and texture to the project. Most patterns will call for dots to be matched with the directional arrows showing the fold of the fabric. However, there is an easier way to get beautifully spaced, beautifully stitched tucks that will all be even and give a very professional look. In this short video, I'm going to show you how. Have you ever worked with a pattern where tucks are required in the pattern? On the pattern, there are going to be a series of lines and then a series of dots. Each of these markings is to be transferred to the fabric before sewing. There will usually be arrows indicating which direction the fold line is to go. After the marks are transferred to the fabric, then at the machine, the guide sheet will say to stick a pin in one dot, and then on the reverse side, and see how cumbersome it can be to find that other dot, place the pins through the dots, bring them together, pin the pattern, and then the sewing will be done on the line after all the other dots are matched. As you can see, this is really not the best way to do this. There is a much simpler way with even better results. To make beautiful tucks in a garment is honestly very easy, and like I said, there's a simpler way to do it. The first thing you need to do is measure between the lines. Usually all of the tucks will be even dimensions. This one happens to be 1 inch. On the pattern piece, with your seam gauge, find the halfway mark at the top and toward the bottom of the tuck. That would be 1/2 inch from each edge. You would do this on each tuck. Just measure 1/2 inch away, the top and the bottom. Now all we have to do is transfer these markings to our fabric. And to do that is honestly just going to require a quick snip of the pattern on the fabric. At the top and at the bottom. Then the fabric can be simply folded along this line and along this line. Then at the machine, we'll use the 1/2 inch measurement on the throat plate to guide the folded edge along whatever this measurement is. Half the measurement of the tuck, so in this case it's a 1/2 inch. So we'll find the 1/2 inch mark on the throat plate and we'll be stitching right along that line. There's no need for matching all of these dots. All we need is the center point and we can stitch and get very accurate results. So let's transfer these marks to our fabric sample and then go to the machine and stitch the tucks, and we'll see how professional the tucks look by using this method. So here we have our sample. I've just cut a piece of cotton fabric and I've transferred the marks for each of the tucks at the top and at the bottom. Now it's a matter of simply folding along those lines. For longer tucks, it might be helpful to add additional lines. Simply use a straight edge, align the bottom mark and the top mark at the straight edge, and draw a line. Then simply take the fabric, fold it along the top and bottom marks, and crease lightly along the line. Use an up and down pressing motion to create a crisp tuck. Now at the machine, stitching will be done by guiding the fold of the fabric along the 1/2 inch mark on the throat plate and stitching a straight line, and repeating for the other tucks. The folds have been placed in the center point for each one of the tucks. Now all we have to do is sew along. Locate the 1/2 inch mark on the throat plate of the machine. Fold the tuck along the press line. Place the fold of the tuck at the 1/2 inch mark, and then simply sew along, keeping the fold at the 1/2 inch mark. This is a really easy and professional way to create these tucks. At the beginning and end, of course, backstitch. Flip the threads, and look at how nice and even that tuck is. Now all you have to do is continue on. Of course, I've used different colors of thread so that you can tell the top side and the reverse side. Now come along to the next tuck, fold it, make sure that the previous fabric is well out of the way, place the fold next to the 1/2 inch line on the throat plate, stitch forward a couple stitches, stitch back, and then stitch along that 1/2 inch fold line. And repeat for the third tuck. Just make sure all of the other fabric is out of the way. And there you have 3 tucks that are all evenly spaced and evenly stitched. Now the only thing left to do is press them flat to set the stitches and then press them into position. All of the tucks have been stitched, so all that's left is to press them to set the stitches and then press them into position. So just take the iron and quickly set the stitches. Do that for each one of those tucks. And then carefully press each tuck into position. You do want to make sure that none of the fabric from the under portion of the fabric is in the tuck area. So just gently stretch that slightly and press the tuck to the side. And then simply repeat for the remaining tucks. If you don't slightly pull on the fabric, you might get a little crease underneath, and you don't want that in your finished garment. And there you have it. Beautiful tucks, evenly spaced, evenly stitched, just as intended by the pattern maker. One thing to keep in mind is any marking utensils that you use, make sure it can be removed from the fabric. Here I used a pencil, obviously, so it would show up on camera, but use whatever marking tools that you've tested that will be appropriate for the fabric being used. Thank you for viewing this inspirational tip from the American Sewing Guild. Please visit our webpage, asg.org, to become a member.